Las Vegas police on Thursday said a man had been arrested after Tesla vehicles were set alight in Las Vegas on March 18. According to Associated Press, Paul Hyon Kim, 36, faces charges in connection with the attack in both state and federal court in Nevada, authorities announced Thursday, a day after his arrest. Kim was being held in the custody of the federal government. In state court, Kim is facing charges of arson, possession of an explosive device and firing a weapon into a vehicle, Clark County Sheriff Kevin McMahill said at a news conference. Kim is also charged with federal unlawful possession of an unregistered firearm and arson, according to a criminal complaint filed Thursday. Security video played at the police news conference showed a suspect, dressed all in black and covering his face, paint the word "resist" across the glass doors of a Tesla service center. McMahill said the suspect threw Molotov cocktails, crude bombs filled with gasoline or another flammable liquid, and fired several rounds from a weapon into multiple vehicles. No one was injured. There has been an uptick of attacks on property with the Tesla logo across the U.S. since President Donald Trump took office and tapped Tesla CEO Elon Musk for a prominent role overseeing a new Department of Government Efficiency that has slashed government spending. Some of the most prominent incidents have taken place in left-leaning cities in the Pacific Northwest.
This event involved an attack on the Tesla Collision and Sales Center on Tuesday, March 18th at approximately 02:45. The suspect used a firearm and Molotov cocktails to damage the center and destroy multiple vehicles that were parked on site. We were able to identify and arrest the suspect involved in this attack. There's a couple social media photos that that have been circulated out there already. The suspect's name is Paul Kim, K-I-M. He's an Asian male adult, and he is 36 years of age.
He attempted to mask his identity by wearing black attire, concealing his face, and wearing gloves. The suspect then began shooting the surveillance cameras with what appeared to be a rifle. You can see an image here of the suspect pointing the rifle towards a camera. At least 2 surveillance cameras were damaged by gunfire. And then upon shooting the cameras, the suspect proceeded to the front doors of the Tesla, and he began spray painting the words "resist" across the doors. I'll let this video play because you'll get a better shot of the suspect. You can see his description as he goes across the clear doors there, committing his act of crime.
And one final cautionary message for individuals who are contemplating similar attacks. There's nothing courageous or noble about firebombing private property and terrorizing your local community. The self-righteous mob that's cheering you on today to commit acts of violence on their behalf will leave you high and dry and forget about you tomorrow. And at the end of the day, you and you alone will be held responsible and face the prospect of a lengthy prison sentence.
We are actively working alongside the FBI to determine if there's any links between this incident and others occurring across our great country.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said Wednesday that U.S. President Donald Trump's auto tariffs are a direct attack on his country and that the trade war is hurting Americans, noting that American consumer confidence is at a multi-year low. According to Associated Press, Trump said earlier Wednesday that he was placing 25% tariffs on auto imports and, to underscore his intention, he stated, "This is permanent. This is a very direct attack," Carney responded. "We will defend our workers. We will defend our companies. We will defend our country." Carney said he needs to see the details of Trump's executive order before taking retaliatory measures. Carney earlier announced a $2 billion Canadian strategic response fund that will protect Canadian auto jobs affected by Trump's tariffs. Autos are Canada's second-largest export, and Carney noted it employs 125,000 Canadians directly and almost another 500,000 in related industries. Trump previously granted a 1-month exemption on his stiff new tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for U.S. automakers. The president has plunged the U.S. into a global trade war, all while on-again, off-again new levies continue to escalate uncertainty. The new prime minister, sworn in March 14, still hasn't had a phone call with Trump. It is unusual for a US President and Canadian Prime Minister to go so long without talking after a new leader takes office. It would be appropriate that the President and I speak given the action that he has taken. I'm sure that will happen soon, Carney said.
Lana and I were just having a meeting, a pre-scheduled meeting, to discuss the situation in our economy, how we can work together across a range of industries, forestry, aerospace, automobiles, and beyond. During the course of that meeting, President Trump announced 25% tariffs against our auto industry. And this is a direct attack, to be clear, a direct attack on the very workers that I stood in front of, uniform workers I stood in front of this morning at the Ambassador Bridge. A bridge that is a symbol and a reality up until now of the tight ties between our two countries, ties of kinship, ties of commerce, ties that are in the process of being broken. You know, this will hurt us, but through this period, by being together, we will emerge stronger. I think what's happened, and this was part of our discussion, over the course of the last several months, Canadian workers, Canadians as a whole across this country, have gotten over the shock of the betrayal and are learning the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves, and we have to look out for each other and work together for each other. We're also providing the option of major liquidity for our companies. We put in place an ability for companies to delay tax payments. We've put in place a large facility for our largest companies, some of them which may be affected by this, would be affected by this, to draw on liquidity in various forms so that they can take longer-term decisions without undue pressure from short-term unjustified action. It's also why we focused, in part in anticipation of what might happen, on today's announcement that I made in front of that Ambassador Bridge for the $2 billion Strategic Response Fund. And the point of that fund, the point of government procurement, the point of linking up through supply chains, the point of working with labor led by Unifor, is to build a made-in-Canada supply chain, a made-in-Canada option, so that we are less affected by these. Now that will take time, but we are already putting in place the building blocks for that. It would be appropriate that the President and I speak, given the action that he's taken. I'm sure that will happen soon. I'm not going to give you a precise timing on that. In terms of options, which was the second part of Ms. Martin's question, even during a caretaker period of government, we have anticipated this possibility. We have put in place the mechanisms so that if it is appropriate for retaliatory tariffs, and there's many considerations to be taken in those regards, and I want to have the meeting of our cabinet, Canada-U.S. cabinet, other considerations. We need to see the details of the executive order, but we will take the steps that are in the interests of Canadian workers of Canada. We are going to stand up for Canada. We're going to be